Hello, fellow music nuts. It's me, Cubby, with another personal spin. And today's album I am reviewing Earthling by David Bowie. So, this was released in 1997, kind of at the height of the Britpop. So in the sort of mid to late 90s, there was like a explosion of sort of celebration of Britishness. I was very young at the time, so I don't really remember it as a thing really. But you had the Spice Girls, and you had Boyzone, and all sorts of stuff. Britpop was huge. Big beat like Prodigy and stuff was pretty big, and all that sort of stuff was all pretty big. And along came Bowie with an album that was sort of a mishmash of sort of everything he'd done before and all this new stuff. There's snippets of Britpop, there's rock in there, there's drum and bass, there's big beat, there's Prodigy style stuff, and it's an interesting album. I quite like it because it's interesting. Some really cool, intricate and skippy drum and bass beats, jittery drums, and all sorts of like interesting things in a sense. However, it's not really one of my favourite albums by Bowie. It's not a bad album, and the rest of this review is going to feel like I'm crapping all over it, but for me, it's sort of lackluster. It's very repetitive. It never really goes anywhere. It's sort of fully established from the second the song starts most of the time. And things like that. For example, Little Wonder, the opening track, it doesn't really have any lyrics to it. It's got the Little Wonder and so far away, or whatever it is he's saying. But that's it. It doesn't really have any of the lyrics. And it's got that cool drum beat. And I suppose that's kind of what big beat is. I mean, if you listen to Prodigy, it's pretty much that sort of thing. But for Bowie, it doesn't really work. I kind of expect something a little bit more lyrically substantial anyway. And it doesn't. And it's like that through pretty much the whole album. Looking for Satellites is the same. I'm Afraid of Americans, which was kind of the big hit on this album, is also the same. And it's largely like that all the way through. And then to top it all off, the music is also pretty repetitive. It's largely made up of drum loops and bass samples and things like that. So I enjoy it, but I also get bored of it really quite quickly. Like if I ever hear Little Wonder again anytime soon, it'll be too soon. It's 6 minutes long, and it's just so repetitive. It's a good track, but I don't think it really needed to be 6 minutes long. And quite a lot of the songs are sort of that length, and none of them really feel like they ever really needed to be that long, and they just get to a point where they're just repeating themselves over and over and over again, which is probably its biggest failing, is it's repetitive and long, which is a shame because I think it could have been more. And yet at the same time, it is so much more because it's Bowie embracing the then at the time modern sounds in music and making them his own. And so for that, he gets, kudos, and should be celebrated, I suppose, if that's the right word. But overall, it's not one of the albums that I really jump to straight away. And for that reason, I have to give it a 7 out of 10. I didn't want to do it lower, but I also didn't feel like it deserved any higher. 7 out of 10 because it's quite good, but it's got many large failings. The failings that it does have are large, but it also has some good moments, like the awesome drumming, for example, or drum loops. It's a very good example of the styles of music that it does, but it's not a very good example for me of a Bowie album, and therefore 7 out of 10. Let me know what you think in the comments. You probably disagree. I've found quite a lot of people like this album, and I have listened to it all day today, and it's just not doing it for me. Not as much as some of his other albums. Again, it's not his worst, but it's definitely not my favourite. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Please like, subscribe if you like my content. I'll be doing more videos. At the moment, I've got to finish my Bowie discography, and then I'll be moving on to other things. I will have more ranking videos coming out. Until then, see you later. Thanks for watching. I have been Cubby. This has been a personal spin. And yes, I'm aware that everything is mirrored, but I have no solution for that at the moment. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.